guys and welcome back to Talking Wolves. My name is Matthew Cooper and amid the current coronavirus outbreak here at Talking Wolves, we're still trying to bring you a little bit of content to keep you interested and keep you engaged whilst we're all self-isolating. At least I hope we're all self-isolating. But today we're going to go through Fosun's last 2022-23 signings and give them a bit of a grade on how well they've done, the value for money, how they performed, how they were received by Wolves fans, and yeah, we're just going to go through and grade them. But the first one we're going to go to, it takes us back all the way to July the 1st, 2017. It was a signing of Barry Douglas from Konyaspor. Now, I thought Douglas was a very good player in the Championship. He made 39 appearances for Wolves, which got 5 goals and staggering 14 assists from left back. And I think we were all a little bit shocked when he left to go to Leeds. It came as a shock as assistant. It definitely came to me. But there were question marks over his defensive contributions by Nuno and the backroom team. So to sign him for a nominal fee, it wasn't much at all. And then flipping for 3 million to Leeds, where since he's gone there he has struggled. I think it was a really good bit of business. He came in, did a very, very good job. So I'd have to rate Barry Douglas. I'd have to give him a B. Although he did fantastic at Wolves, and we got great value for him in the end. He wasn't a player who we could then develop further. Moving on to our next signing, and that came a few days later, and it's just a little known person called Ruben Neves. Now, Wolves signed Neves for around the £16 million mark, I believe, and we've not looked back since, have we? He's played over 100 games for Wolves now. He makes things tick. He's learned so much from Moutinho, and it's starting to come to that point now where maybe Neves is slightly maybe overtaking Moutinho in current ability. And what a signing he's been. I'd have to give him an A star. Honest to God, Neves is one of my favourite players I've seen at Wolves. He's absolutely magical on the ball, and like I said, his positional play and his passing as well. He's mixing everything together now. He's getting a bit more experience. He's still only young, still learning his trade, but he's a great asset. I mean, if Wolves sold him now, you could demand over £80 million for him, I reckon. So, and I think there will be a large number of suitors lining up for his signature in the future. I just hope he stays. But yeah, for me, A star just for that goal against Derby for me, or the one against Espanyol. You know what you're going to get with Neves. Moving on to John Ruddy. Now, I know this is one that may split opinions, but to sign Ruddy on a free, a former England international, he was integral to us in that Championship season. I mean, he won a few games on his own. I mean, you look at that Cardiff game where he made that double penalty save. Well, it was amazing. And that point we knew that we were going to go up. He's made a few errors along the way, most particularly in the Shrewsbury game in the FA Cup. I know there's a few games in the FA Cup where Wolves fans think if Patricio played, we would have had a chance of maybe getting to the final or even winning it. But he seems a good pro to have around the dressing room. He lifts spirits, and I think Nuno trusts him as his number 2. It is tough to kind of come in as a number 2 as a goalkeeper, because you know you're not going to play when you've got Portugal's number 1 in front of you. But to sign him on a free, he'll probably leave at the end of the season. I'd have to give Ruddy a B. Now moving on to Will Norris, who's another goalkeeper who came in around about the same time as Ruddy, and he's failed to impress really. He's had loan spells out. He's at Ipswich at the minute, I think, where he doesn't get a look in. For what I saw, Norris against Man City away, where Enebakari should have had 3 or 4. He looked a really, really good goalkeeper. His distribution looked good. He looked sturdy. He looked like he had good hands. But apart from that, he's not done anything in a Wolves shirt, and it doesn't appear that he's going to be doing anything soon. So for me, has to be a D. Moving on to Oskar Buur Rasmussen, who came out of nowhere, didn't he? I mean, he wasn't even getting a kick in for the under-23s, I believe, at the time. But when he scored that goal against Hull, the header, I think it was a 1-1 draw at Molineux. He just came out of nowhere, and he got that goal, very well taken finish, taken with aplomb. But then again, he's faded back into the under-23s, and now all of a sudden, Nuno has come out and says Oskar Buur is very much in the plans. I think Nuno likes him. He's been away with the senior squad on numerous tours, and yeah, he's been on the bench a few times. Still yet to see what he offers us going forward into the future, but I suppose he's a good backup to have, so I'd have to give him a C. Next up is Rafa Mir. Now, I think the chance for Rafa Mir's wonders number 9 were a little bit premature. He signed from Valencia for around about 1.8 million to £2 million apparently, and he has flopped. Albeit he hasn't had a massive look in at Wolves, and you can't really blame Wolves for that because they had Afobe and Bonatini ahead of him at the time. But he just hasn't done it for Wolves. He didn't do it at Forest, where I think he failed to score in the league. Forest fans didn't like him at all. Did well at Las Palmas, but he has no future at Wolves. I'd have to give him an E. Now, Benik Afobe was signed from Wolves on the 2nd of June in 2018 after a loan spell from Bournemouth. Now, he helped us win promotion. Whether he did it single-handedly, I think is hard to argue, but he certainly contributed to us winning the title, and it was that love affair again. He was reunited with his former club. He was back happy, signing for £10 million, and then he was flicked for £2 million profit a couple of days later. Whether we know the truth or not about this, we're unsure, but there was rumours that he was talking to other clubs in the process of signing for Wolves, which is one of the reasons why Wolves let him go, according to various sources. But for me, I'd have to give him a B. Not because of his performances and stuff, or where he'd take Wolves moving forward, but I think the goals that he contributed in that Championship season, then flipping him for £2 million profit, was really good business by Fosun. Willy Boly made his move to Wolves permanent in the same summer, on July the 1st, 2018, for £10 million, and honestly, he looked at ease in the Championship, but I'd have to say he looks at even more ease in the Premier League. He's been superb. I love Boly. He's a colossal. He wins everything. He tackles. He battles. He's not too slow, and he's so strong and good on the ball. To sign a player like that for £10 million, who let's face it, wasn't really getting a look in at Porto, I think was great business. When he's out of the side, we look a different team. Although his injury over January time, we managed to adjust really well. But I think Boly's been superb. I'd have to give him an A. Because I think I can count the amount of times he's had a bad game on one hand, and I don't think it's even 5 games. So, yeah, he's been a superb acquisition from Wolves, and I think Thelwell and Nuno and Mendes did a fantastic job in convincing Boly to come to Wolves. I know initially on loan, but he still had question marks around it, but he's settled in superbly, and he's a massive player for Wolves. Moving on to Rui Patricio. Now, Rui signed for Wolves apparently. At the start it was said to be a free transfer, but with all the speculation and trouble going around, the ownership and the ultras storming the training ground at Sporting Lisbon, Wolves have had to pay compensation to Sporting Lisbon for a fee around £16 million. But I think that's good business really. For he is one of the top keepers in the league. He has his faults. His kicking and distribution isn't great. We've seen that from last season. It's a little bit better this season. He doesn't really command his area. But one thing I will say is that he is one of the best shot-stopping keepers I've seen. And he's won games for us on his own, similar to Ruddy in the Championship. There's obviously a massive difference between Ruddy and Patricio. Patricio is far more superior keeper, and he's capped his country on numerous times. He's obviously not a bad goalkeeper, but yeah, distribution isn't great, but he more than makes up for it in his shot stopping ability. So I'd have to give him a B. I do like Patricio, but again, if his kicking was a little bit better, maybe an A. But I think £16 million is good business. Now, Leo Bonatini, it may seem it was years and years ago, but he actually made his move to Wolves permanently on the 1st of July 2018 from Al Hilal after an indifferent season in the Championship. If you looked at Bonatini from start of the season to December, you think £5 million or reported £3.6 million. That's an absolute steal. He's scoring goals for fun, but he hadn't scored a goal in 12 months for Wolves after that period, and his confidence looked shot. He looked a completely different player. I mean, some fans were saying that his goals that he scored for Wolves in that purple patch were lucky. He was in right place, right time. But I think that criticism's unjust. I think he was a good finisher. And he was a very good system player for us, but I think a little bit of a goal drought really affected his confidence, and he dropped down the pecking order at Wolves, and he just fell out of favour. And I know he's on loan elsewhere now, and he's not cutting it there, but it was really good in the Championship. I can't see Wolves making a profit or even maybe getting any of the money back for him, so I'd have to give him a C. But yeah, really good player in the Championship for half a season, and perhaps without him we may not have been promoted. Now moving on to Ruben Vinagre, who's another player similar to Bonatini who joined Wolves on loan in the Championship and made his move to Molineux permanent on the 1st of July 2018. Now we didn't see loads of him in the Championship, but when we did, we all got excited because he's one of those players. He's enigmatic. He runs at defenders. He makes them commit. He's quick. He's skillful, but he still needs to improve on his final ball and his positioning / defending. Now for £5 million, he can't really complain. He's still a young talent. He's a raw talent. You can see that he's played for Portugal under 19s and various youth levels. But like I said, there's still things that he needs to improve on. I'd give him a B because, like I said, £5 million. He's a very good young player to have. And under Nuno, he will improve. But you can see Nuno gets frustrated with him sometimes. But if he can improve on the things that he's not so good at and keep working on the things that he's good at, he'll be a very good asset to Wolves in the future. Now, Diogo Jota is next. And what a player he's been. I don't think he got enough credit in the Championship. He scored 17 goals in his first season in English football, which I think is amazing, albeit in the Championship. But he's still young. He's still applying his trade. And I'd have to give Jota an A-star. He's a wonderful talent. He's one of my favourite players to watch. He like I said, similar to Vinagre, he commits defenders, and you can see that defences get scared when he runs at them. And if Jota's on his day, it's more than likely that Wolves are on the day as well. He links up well with Jimenez. He does have his periods of inconsistencies and his little niggles, but I think that's because he gets kicked up in the air so much as well. But yeah, Jota is one of my favourite players at Wolves. He's magnificent to watch, and yeah, very exciting. A-star for Jota. Now, back-to-back A-stars here. It's Joao Moutinho, a £5 million signing from Monaco. He's been ever-present for Wolves ever since he come in, which is funny considering rival fans said when we signed him that his legs are gone, he's here for one last payday. He's coming to the end of his career. Now, usually players, when they come to the end of their career, they go somewhere a bit more exotic, like maybe Los Angeles. So he swapped that for Tetanal, so I don't think that's the case. But yeah, he's been ever present for Wolves. 17 assists he's got so far in the old gold and black, and perhaps the last month or so he's starting to slow down a little bit. Maybe the busy schedule's kind of getting to him, but he's been superb. And for many Wolves fans, he's the best player that's ever put on the shirt. His tactical awareness and his pitch IQ is second to none, and he's helped those players around him such as Neves, Jota, Cody, Jimenez. He's all taught them how to develop, and they've learnt from him. And he seems a great character to have around. And you know, whether he stays for another couple of seasons and still plays, it will go down as a Wolves legend. He has kind of kick-started Wolves on that second stage of revival and took them to the next level. Next is Adama Traore. Now, me and Dave have always been beating the Adama Traore drum. Even last season when we were hounded and we were told that he was rubbish and he was a speed merchant, but Wolves signed him for £18 million from Middlesbrough, which did raise a few eyebrows. But me and Dave, especially me, we saw something in Adama that a few people couldn't see, and it was, if you've got that much raw pace and the ability to beat your man 10 times out of 10, as long as you've got someone who can mentor him and coach him like Nuno has and get a full pre-season under him, he would be a real asset for any club. And lo and behold, this season he's been a revelation. He looks a completely different player. He's added the final product a bit more to his game. He's got more goals, more assists. It's his best ever return as a professional footballer. And he frightens the life out of any team on this planet. I do not believe there's a quicker and more effective winger in terms of beating the man and getting a cross in than Adama Traore in the world. He's unstoppable on his day, and teams always take 2 or 3 players out to one side to try and combat him, which leaves space in the middle for him. So for me, I'd have to give him a B. That might seem a bit harsh considering the seasons he's had, but he's still things that he needs to work on. His final ball still needs to improve somewhat. But if you compare him to last season to this season, he's got to be worth £60 million plus now, which is a huge profit made by Fosun. You have to remember they are an investment company, so they will look to sell at some point. But yeah, he's been superb this season, and when you've got Jota, who wasn't playing so well and inconsistent, Adama really stepped up to the plate, and credit to him, he stuck to his guns. He's not really changed the way he plays. He's just been his approach has been tailored somewhat by Nuno, and it's worked tremendously. Now, I'd say probably the most underrated in the Wolves squad is Jonny, who signed from Atletico Madrid on the 31st of January 2019, I believe, for around 18 million. Now, it kind of came out of the woodwork, and I don't think Wolves had any plans to kind of sign him permanently because he was on loan from the Madrid side. But Jorge Mendes, he needed rumours that Atletico needed a few more bob to fund the transfer at the time, and Jonny made his move permanently without making an appearance at Atletico, I believe. But I think he's brilliant. If you compare him to Barry Douglas, who I said at the start of the video did really well for Wolves, it's another example of Wolves progressing and stepping the bar up once again. And Jonny is your Mr. Consistency. He's your 7.5 out of 10 every single week, and for me, he's one of the most consistent fullbacks in the league. He very rarely gets beaten in a one-on-one situation. He's criminally underrated going forward, especially down the left-hand side on his weaker foot. I think he's a huge asset for Wolves, and we've seen the past few weeks, so he's been out injured. I know, obviously, we've been away with the COVID-19 outbreak, but when we were playing, he was out of the side. We looked vulnerable down that left-hand side. So for me, Jonny gets an A. Really like Jonny. He works hard, battles hard, and yeah, great player. Now, Leander Dendoncker joined Wolves in the summer of 2018 on loan, with the permanent deal happening on the 1st of July 2019. Now, he came in from Anderlecht, and we didn't see him for 3 or 4 months. Rumours were that he was overweight, was unfit, didn't settle in, and then he came in against, I think it was Chelsea, and he just stayed in the team for large periods of time. And I think the introduction of Dendoncker really helped Wolves turn a page last season when they were struggling for form. Now, I'm unsure whether he's best as a central midfielder or as a centre half. I think he's better as a right-sided centre back. I don't think he possesses the correct awareness or ability to play in the middle, especially in a 2. Perhaps better in a 3. But at £10 million, he's a very good squad player to have. He's versatile. He's a big lad. His running action's terrible, but he covers the ground well. So I'd have to give him a B. Moving on to Raul Jimenez. Signed from Benfica for around £28 million now. Originally he was on loan, but we all knew he was going to make that move permanent. And even though the price tag was a little bit high at the time, I think A star is the only rating you can give Jimenez. Everything goes through Jimenez for Wolves. If Jimenez doesn't play, we really struggle. And again, if we sold him now, you'd be doubling that. For a 29-year-old striker, 29-year-old striker, I think that's tremendous business. At Benfica, he struggled to get game time. He was known as a super sub and has struggled to really tie down a first-team place anywhere he's been, apart from back in Mexico. But he's found a new lease of life at Wolves. He's firing on all cylinders, and he's probably one of the best number 9s out-and-out strikers in the world at the minute. He's absolutely superb, and without Jimenez, Wolves struggle to really penetrate anybody. Now, moving on to Patrick Cutrone, who signed from AC Milan in July 2019, and it's been nothing short of a disaster, really. He came in, Wolves fans took to him, they had the pizza, the pasta song. There was really, Wolves fans loved him, and you can't say that Wolves fans never took to him at all. But Cutrone just couldn't settle. He didn't speak the language. He struggled to impress Nuno. Rumours were that he wasn't Nuno's maybe first choice for signings. He came in quite late in the window. But yeah, it just didn't work out for him. Only played a handful of games, scored 1 or 2 goals. And then moved back to Fiorentina in Italy for on a loan move with a view to a permanent, which is kind of recouping the money that they paid for him or thereabouts. I can't give him anything more than an F. I know that sounds harsh, but I really can't. He never made an impact. He didn't buckle down and get on with things. You've seen a few things in the media after he left about Nuno and favouritism, so you don't know that's the truth, but for me it's an F. Bruno Jordao signed with Pedro Neto from Lazio on the 2nd of August. Now, Talking Wolves were one of the first outlets to report this at the time, and within 3 or 4 hours it was confirmed by the club. Now, Jordao hasn't really made that much of an impact on the first team at Wolves. I know he's had a few injuries, so I'd have to give him a C. But Neto, he's been a bit of a revelation for Wolves. I know the NDL, the Neto Defence League, have taken to him like a duck to water, and for £16 million, it's tremendous scouting from Wolves. You cannot fault that for someone who wasn't really getting a kick at Lazio, hadn't played much for Braga, to come in and have the impact he's made for a young player who's still learning his trade. It's been superb. He looks direct. He's quick. He's skillful and he's got an eye for goal. Now, I was one of the fans at the start who didn't really rate him, but he certainly proved me wrong. And he looks to have a massive future ahead of him at Wolves. Daniel Podence signed from Olympiacos on the 30th of Jan for an undisclosed fee, but it's believed to be around the £20 million mark. And so far, so good for me. I think he hasn't had much opportunity, but when he has, he's looked a good player. He never gives the ball away. He looks a tidy player. I'm not sure whether he's going to be kind of pressing Jota and Jimenez for first team starting positions, similar to Neto, but I think it's good business. He's Portuguese, he settles in, he fits the mould of what Wolves normally scout for. And yeah, if we're back in Europe next season, he'll certainly be used with the heavy schedule. So for me, it's a C. Let us know your thoughts in the section down below, guys. Do you think I've been harsh on some players? Do you think players deserve more credit? And yeah, it'd be good if you could maybe put your ratings in there as well. We'll put all the players in the description of the video so you can copy and paste and let us know your grades. But until then, if you're new here, like and subscribe. If you are a subscriber, make sure you dislike the video and take care of yourselves. I'll see you all very soon.